Hey howdy, hey, what is going on you guys? It is your boy Pyrotoad here, and boy do we have a banger for today's video. Let me just say, this is going to be an exciting video. This is a video that I've been waiting to film, and a video that I'm very excited to film myself. It is time for part 2 of our outdoor turtle pond build. You guys remember a few weeks ago or a week ago, we did a video, part 1, of setting up and purchasing our tub for this giant 300-gallon turtle pond that we are going to be building. But there we were just kind of discussing our plans and buying the tub. Now we've gotten a whole bunch more supplies, and we're going to get the rest of our supplies in today's video and get ready to start building this setup. This thing is going to be massive. I am so hyped, and I can't wait for you guys to see. But we did have some packages come in, so let's take a look. First things that we've got is a new pump. So I was needing 2 pumps for this setup. We've already got one that I had, and now we got another one. I bought this guy on Amazon, and I actually got a really good deal on it, and it's working really well. So we got a nice brand new pump. Then we got some Then we got a whole bag of Missouri turtle food. This will last the turtles really well, and it'll be nice because I'll have it out there by the pond where all I have to do is just scoop it, throw some in there, and feed the turtles. It'll become sort of a daily thing that we're going to do where every morning or whatever before video starts, we'll scoop some up and throw it out to the turtles. From Amazon, I ordered a whole bunch of duckweed. So as you can see, that is duckweed. It is a live aquatic plant. Once we get the pond set up, we are going to dump this entire jar in there and let it take over. It'll really add for a more swamp-like and pond-like feel to the outdoor pond. So that's why I got some duckweed. It'll also help with filtration, and the goldfish are going to be able to eat it as well. Yeah, we got some beautiful duckweed. As you can see, a whole bunch of it, a thick old clump of duckweed. We got our turtle food and a pump. Next, in here, if we can get it out, maybe, we got a whole bunch of carbon filter pads. So there's one, and there's number 2. So we got 2 thick, big old carbon filter pads. These 2 filter pads are going to be going in the filter, of course. These will really help filter out the pond. So yeah, 2 carbon filter pads. And lastly, one of the most important objects is this rock. I know it doesn't seem like much, but it'll serve a very important purpose, and you'll see that here soon. So we ordered a bunch of this stuff from Amazon. Altogether, for all these things, it came to like a little over $100, which really isn't too bad, especially for a beautiful 800-gallon pump, this giant fake rock. I mean, it's not too bad. 110, 120 bucks is a pretty good price. But we've still got to get some more stuff from Home Depot, a whole bunch more ingredients for the setup. So I guess without further ado, we're going to head down to Home Depot and get some more ingredients, or more supplies. Well, actually, before we do go to Home Depot, just so you guys know, if y'all are new to this series, this is the pond we're going to be setting up. Once again, there's my size 10 shoe compared to this pond. So, I mean, obviously, this thing is massive. This is not a small pond that we're going to be building. This is a giant turtle pond. As a matter of fact, this is going to be the largest body of water that I'm going to have set up for reptiles. Oh, we got to... Whoa, crap, what the heck? I almost just died. What the... Look, I stepped... and I went, Foom. What the heck? Okay, that's dangerous. Okay. Anyhow, before I almost died there, we got to get some cinder blocks to put on the back here so we can have our waterfalls. Then we got to get some for their basking spot in the center. Then we got to get some sand or some gravel for the bottom, and some bamboo wrap to wrap all the way around this pond. So we got to get a few different ingredients. I'll show you guys when we're at Home Depot. Yeah, I'll catch y'all here in just a minute. Alright, yeah, we have made our way into Home Depot. So right now, we are looking around, shopping around, seeing what all they have, and seeing what all we're going to be needing for this setup. Alright, y'all, we're in the pond section, and I'm looking for the first thing. I need a waterfall head. Oh, there we go. So there's going to be our waterfall head. We already have one at home, but we need another. This is basically going to be the waterfall cascade that's going to have the water flow into the pond. It'll make more sense once we have it set up, but that guy is going to be $23.98. Let's go ahead, add this to our little stack here. The first item of the cart for all the things that we got to get. Boom, there we go. So that is item 1 out of like 20. Let's just continue shopping. Alrighty, y'all, well, I found the next thing that we're going to be getting, and it's these concrete blocks. We need a bunch of these concrete blocks for this setup, so I guess without further ado, let's start loading them up. Well, we've just picked up 3, 6, 9, 12 concrete blocks, so this should be plenty, more than enough for this setup. So we got our concrete blocks. Now let's go ahead and get some sand added to this pile here. Well, boy, does it take a lot of materials to build a 300-gallon turtle pond. But you know what? I hope in the end the turtles enjoy it, and I hope it's really worth it. And most importantly, I hope you guys enjoy it, because a lot of this is for you guys. Well, now we need about 3 bags of play sand here, so we're gonna go ahead and load that up. Well, our play sand has been added, so now we've got play sand, our concrete blocks, and a waterfall. But guess what? We've still got more things to get. So we're gonna go ahead and grab a bag of this lava rock here. That's basically gonna be our biological media for our waterfall filters. Come on, big boy. Oh boy, that's not right. Oh. Now I think what we're gonna be using for the outer layer of this pond is going to be this like bamboo reed fence stuff. So it's 6 feet tall, but we're gonna probably cut it in half and then lay it right around the enclosure. I'm not too sure exactly how we're gonna do it yet, but it's gonna be something like that. But I think we do need a roll of this stuff right here. It's 25 bucks, but I think it'll be well worth it, and it should be plenty to go around the enclosure. All right, next we need a couple of bags of garden soil. Alrighty, y'all, so we've gotten just about everything that we're gonna need for this setup. The one thing that we are missing, or actually 2 things, or a few things, is electricity. So I need to figure out a way I can run electricity with some sort of cord or something out to that pond, because obviously the waterfall is not gonna work if I don't have electricity. So I'm currently looking to see what kind of extension cords, surge protectors, things like that I can use for outside and around that pond. There's a good few different options all across this aisle, so I'm just kind of looking around and deciding at the moment. So we are back outside with the electrical stuff that we have just picked up. We got this 50-foot extension cord. It's actually 3-pronged, as you can see. I'll explain why later. Then we got another 3-pronged outlet right here. Some silicone. This is for future cages. This isn't really for anything I'll be using. And then a little roll of electrical tape. So all together, we have a whole bunch of stuff. We got sand, lava rock, dirt, bricks. I mean, we got the whole pond building shazam here. There's not much more to do except for go and get all this stuff checked out. Well, goodbye to my wallet, I guess. But it's worth it. These turtles are going to enjoy this setup. I've got a whole bunch of different things, and we're going to make this thing look insane. What other 16-year-old on YouTube does stuff like this? What other 16-year-old builds insane giant 300-gallon turtle ponds? I can't think of anybody myself. Well, y'all, we are back home with our bed full of all sorts of different things. Now it's time for the fun part in like 100-degree weather to unload all this stuff over by the pond. Just like so, everything is unloaded from the truck. We've got 12 of those cinder blocks, this giant roll of fencing stuff, a bunch of sand, some lava rocks, some more rocks, and we've got a whole bunch of stuff that we'll be using for this setup. The next thing I got to do is level this pond out, because if you look at it from an angle, it is tilting to one side a little bit more than the other. So that's why I got that dirt. I'm going to re-level this area a little bit, and then we'll start building the setup. Once we re-level it and get it positioned exactly where we want it in the yard, I may have it go a little bit more in the shade. I may have it stay there. I may have it go more in the sun. Probably not. I'm thinking right here, because it gets about half shade, half sun, which should be just about perfect. And after we get this area leveled, I'm going to probably cut this fencing stuff in half and wrap it around once we get it all positioned. And then we'll start building it from there. Then we'll add our filters, our cinder blocks, our sand, etc. And this concrete is super duper hot. Keep in mind, it is very hot outside right now. It's probably like 95 or 100 degrees out here in sunny summer Texas. So I'm not going to be building that pond too much right now just because of the temperature. But once it cools off here in a little bit, then I'll definitely start working on it. Well, y'all, I'm gonna go over some of the ingredients we have. First of all, we've got this Vibro lava rock. Now, this lava rock I'm basically gonna be using for the filtration in the pond. So without the lava rock, we can't get good beneficial bacteria to develop. Next, we've got this fencing stuff here. This fencing is basically gonna go around the pond. There's not too much to say about it. I'm gonna cut it in half, and hopefully it'll look pretty good. Well, we're just gonna pretend that never happened. Alrighty y'all, it is actually the next day. The following day, I'm picking up my camera and I'm ready to continue work on this pond. Got a whole bunch of materials here that we may or may not use for this pond over here. So I'm gonna go ahead and get some of this over there and we're gonna start building this setup. I think we'll need these here, I'll explain why shortly. And then I think we're gonna need this guy right here. This is gonna help us kind of flatten out the dirt. And then we might get a shovel, I'm not too sure. But real quick, we basically gathered all the materials that we are going to be using for this setup. Also, ignore whatever's going on the other side of that fence, but just ignore that. Let's keep building. So, of course, we've got some hand tools here. Those are going to be important. I'll explain why later. A bunch of our stones and everything like that we already picked up. A false rock that I got from Amazon. Once again, I will explain why shortly. Some filter pads. Of course, our lava rock will work with our filter pads. Then 2 waterfall heads. Once again, I'll explain all that as we go. A bunch of electrical stuff. Once again, I'll explain as we go. Then 1 giant 300-gallon pond tub. And a bunch of pumps and tubing. So we've got 2 pumps here. Really big, heavy, solid pumps. And then a whole bunch of tubing, as you can see. And some turtle food, but this isn't really the most important thing. That's just kind of extra. The first thing we have to do is start leveling this ground out. If you look closely, you can see that it goes up and down and up and down, and it is not level at all. So we've got a bunch of dirt here. We're basically gonna re-level this ground so that our pond tub over there sits flat. Because obviously you don't want your tub to be leaning to one side too much. So I think if we just snap our fingers, the dirt will be laid out. I guess let's just give it a shot. Whoa, well there we go. Our dirt is now laid out. So now it's time to lay our pond out and see if it's level. Well, now that our dirt is down, I've also added some stones to each of the 4 corners on each side there, just to help level it out. And you'll notice if we take our leveler here, it's pretty level. It's not going to be perfect, but over time this will settle, the ground will settle, and it'll sink in a little bit. Because of course, keep in mind this is going to have about 300 gallons of water in it. Same thing if we check this side, set our leveler down. Once again, it's pretty much level, bubble sitting right in the middle. And then moving to this side, boom, same thing. It's just barely a little bit to the right, but that's nothing to worry about. And once again, we can always rebalance it as we go. And then for this last side right here, if we can get our leveler to stay, boom, there you go, bubble is in the middle. So all 4 sides of this pond are pretty much good to go. And then of course, as I said, it will settle over time, so it's not going to be exactly perfect right away. But we've got stones on each side there, so that'll also help. The thing that we're going to start working on is we're going to start cutting this Vigro fencing stuff in half and basically putting it around the enclosure. That's gonna add for a little bit, just a little bit more of a naturalistic touch. That way it doesn't look like just a giant black tub just sitting in our yard. So cutting that's gonna be a bit of a process, but I will catch up with you guys here in a few minutes once we get it how we want it. But it's actually been a good hour or so, and I've been out here trying to get this fence installed. Now I'm gonna do more to make this fence a little bit more sturdy, but honestly it's just for looks. I'm not really using it to help the pond in any way other than to kind of hide that black tub. Now I need to cut off those zip ties obviously, and then I'm debating on whether or not I want to level this out. You see how it kind of goes up and down and up and down? I'm probably going to cut a whole bunch off the top just to level it out to the bottom of the tub here, but that'll kind of take place over time, and I'm still kind of deciding on how exactly I want to do this. I left this back side open right here just so we could have our waterfalls, because obviously we're gonna have a whole bunch of these cinder blocks right there, and we're gonna have them stacked up, and then our waterfalls over the side. Now if I did that fence, it'd be kind of just a waste of materials and space. Now the next thing that we need to do is start stacking our cinder blocks here, seeing how they're gonna lay out, seeing what we want to do with them, and then we'll kind of go from there. I know it doesn't look like much right now, but trust me, once it's done, it'll look a whole lot better. Look at that, y'all. The bricks are stacked up. I've also gotten our waterfalls placed here, so this is kind of how it's gonna look. Now hopefully it's coming together a little bit more. Our pumps are gonna be in the bottom here somewhere. Tube's gonna run up, run up, run up. It's gonna connect to each one of these. Water is gonna flow out and filter the ponds. So that's how it looks. That's how it's coming along. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. And obviously, this is not some zoo type pond setup. I'm literally 16, so I'm doing the best that I can with the resources, money, and material I have. And keep in mind, it's like 100 something degrees out right now, so I am very sweaty. As you can see, I'm nice and shiny, and it's very hot out. Like the sun is just beaming down. So I put my little cap on, and we're still working. We are still getting stuff done, making this pool pond or tub stock tank pond look really good. I'm really hopeful for how it's gonna turn out. Gotta continue along to see how it's gonna turn out. But yeah, we're gonna keep doing that, getting all this arranged. Then we're gonna start adding sand and other things like that to the bottom. Also, I just trimmed the little edge around here really quick, so now it looks a whole lot better, a whole lot more flush. But now what we're gonna start doing is adding our bags of sand to the bottom. I've got 3 bags of sand, so I think that should be plenty to create a good little layer on the bottom. All right, so we've got our bricks in. Now we're just gonna stack them up to create a nice basking platform, kind of like you see here. The water will come up to right about here. Then they'll be able to climb out and just chill right on the center block, heat up, and then dive back in the water when they're ready. And then we'll dump our sand out and mix our sand around. I was already working on rinsing the sand a little bit, but it didn't work exactly like I wanted it to. Holy smokes, look at the progress we are making. We've got rocks on the bottom, we've got sand, then we got this big old basking log. Basically, if I step right over here, we have our cinder blocks that the turtles and fish can swim in and out of. Then right up top, they can come up here and bask here, or they can come up on their log and bask on their log. And then whenever they see me, they'll probably just dive off into the water. It really is coming along really well. It's gonna be a nice looking setup. But now the next thing we gotta do is start setting up our waterfalls and getting that going. Got some filter pads there, some lava rock over there, and a few other materials on the way. We're gonna lay those waterfalls out, start setting them up, and get them ready to, I guess, run. So the first thing we're gonna do to add our filtration for this filter box is we're gonna add some lava rocks. Just like so, we're gonna keep dumping lava rocks in until we have a good, I'd say 1 to 2 inch layer. If you're wondering what the lava rocks do, they basically provide beneficial bacteria filtration. So being that the lava rocks are porous, they're gonna allow for a bunch of little bacteria to live and basically just create a colony inside of it. Once they create their little colony, once they get established, they're gonna help get rid of all sorts of different bad bacteria and things like that that you don't want in your turtle's water. Next, what we're gonna do is add some of this carbon filter. This carbon filter pad is gonna help filter out more thick, clumpy debris, and it's gonna help with the water clarity and a few other things. Then we're gonna add a few lava rocks to the top just to kind of hold it all down, just a little bit, just like so. And then we're gonna get this guy up here and kind of repeat the same process. Now the only difference with this one is I'm gonna use a lot less lava rock and a lot more filter pads. I've got more carbon filter pads here, and I've got some regular polyester filter pads on the way. Once I get all my filter pads in, then this filtration will be completely set up. But for the most part, you kind of get what I'm doing, you kind of get the idea, and you can really do it a bunch of different ways. You can do garbage can filters, bucket filters, waterfall filters like this here, tub filters. There's so many different filters you can do, but the main thing you want to have is beneficial bacteria areas like lava rocks or bio balls, and then filter pads. All basically work hand in hand to clean your water and make it very healthy for your animals. Well, everything's almost set up except for the missing filter pad here. With all that being said, it's time to start filling this thing up. Once we fill it up, then we'll start running the pumps, but obviously we gotta get our electricity supplied. We're gonna do that next. Let's start getting water in here, then we'll start running electricity. Make sense? I hope so. Let's just say I've been out here for about 6 hours at 105-degree weather, and we've been absolutely grinding this setup out. It looks really good, and I think the turtles are gonna love it. We're gonna go ahead, grab our hose, pull it right over to our pond. We're gonna start filling it up. Now keep in mind the water is gonna get very cloudy. That's just natural, that is gonna happen. But we're gonna start filling it up just like so. Give it a few hours. Once it gets filled up, then we'll start turning everything on. Look at that, the pond is almost filled up. It is still filling up a little bit more, but it's almost there. We've also run our electricity all the way down and under this little false rock. Now I'm gonna organize this a little bit more over time, but I'm just kind of getting this done really quickly. And then I'm gonna move all this stuff out of the way, obviously. But what I'm gonna do next is plug in these 2 filters here and see how well it's running, see how it looks, and everything else like that. So get all that off there, that works. And let's start plugging all of our cords in. Here we go, y'all. Alright, y'all, we've got our 2 filters here. Now it's time to plug them in and see if this thing's even gonna work. See if all this work was worth it. Come on. Alright, there goes number 1. And number 2 is on. Look at that, y'all. So our filters are running correctly. Well, Well, y'all, as you can see, our pond is still running just fine, and boy does this thing look fantastic. Boy, am I excited to finish this area up and add turtles as well. In part 3 of this video, we will probably cap off these filters here, do a little bit more details to this pond area here, and then re-landscape this whole area, because obviously having just the pond looks cool and all, but the ground doesn't look super pretty around it. So if we can fix this area up around it and then have the pond, I think that'll really change the look of the whole area. I think that'll make it look really good. But one of the most important things I need to get done is I want to cap off these filters, because the way it looks here is kind of bothering me. I want to get a rock or something to go over top, but that'll all be in another video. Also in part 3, we'll probably add the turtles from that pond over there back into this one. Well, it wouldn't be back into it. This will be their first time in this new setup, but you get the idea. Really hope you guys are enjoying this series, and that's basically it for today's video. We have done a huge amount of work on the pond. As a matter of fact, I've almost completed it. All we got to do is just re-landscape around it, add a few finishing touches, and introduce the turtles. Once we've done that, that's basically it. But those of you who want to, you'll have to stick around, wait for another part 3 of this series when we finish this area up. With all that being said, if you guys did enjoy, go ahead and drop a like, comment, subscribe. You guys know the drill. It means the world to me. And to build setups like this costs a good amount of money. So if you guys could also cop my merch, it's also linked in the description. That would really help me financially. We are on the road to 3,000 subscribers, or we are at 3,000 subscribers of the time of filming this. Enough of me going blah, blah, blah. I hope you enjoyed. I hope y'all enjoyed this setup. If y'all have any suggestions, let me know down in the comments. And I will see you, yes you, in the next one. Peace!